Hey folks, welcome everyone. This is Max and welcome to another video on where I show how to build applications using no-code tools. So in this video, what I built is an application that scrapes a website for some data, and then it sends me an email, a daily email with the data. So I use Parabola again, and this is the flow, which I'm going to explain. Now the data that I am looking for is actually coming from my county. So I live in Northern California in the Bay Area and in Contra Costa County. And so they have a website that has information about coronavirus or COVID-19, and it's updated daily. So what I wanted to do is to, instead of visiting the website every day, I wanted to get these numbers to total cases, total tested, currently in hospitals, and how many people died, and get an email every day. And then again, I'm going to show you, I use a scraper. It's also a no-code tool, and then I take the data through Parabola Flow and then get an email. So before I jump into the flow, so again, this is the website, and I also save the results in Google Sheets document, right? So you can see I've been actually running this application or flow for some time, and when I started back on end of June, you can see the numbers were pretty low, only 34 people in hospital, and obviously the numbers since then went up sort of kind of significantly, almost 3 times, but hopefully we can see here they are starting to go down a little bit again, so hopefully it's a good sign. So again, I get the daily email, but I also keep the data. I save the previous information in this document, and the idea is that maybe at some point I can build a graph or use it for something else. Okay, so let's go back to the flow here. Okay, and so first is right here. I'm going to start here. So there is sort of two entry points, but let's start here. So the first step is Google Sheets import. So this is where I get the data that I just showed you, right? So this is the history. Let me go back. Let me open. Again, this imports the data. You have to connect to your Google account, and then we get this data. So we get all the columns, right? All right, that's the first step. Next step is I'm sorting the information, okay? And sorting meaning that the very recent one is at the top, okay? And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to add row numbers. So this step is I'm adding a row number. You can see 1, 2. So this very latest entry is row number 1. Because what I'm going to do in the email that I'm sending, actually I can show you the email as well here. The email that I'm sending, it has information from yesterday and today. So that's why I get data from Google Sheets, and then I include the data from yesterday, and then when I run a new scrape, it includes the data from today. So that's why I have. Let me go back quickly. That's why I have this flow here. Again, getting the sort of historic information, sorting, and then adding a row number. We are right here. All right. So next, what I do is I'm actually saying I don't need the older data except the very last day, which is yesterday, and I'm basically using a row filter, and I am saying remove all the rows except row number 1, and that's what I get. So basically, this is the record that contains information from yesterday. And the final step here is I'm just renaming columns just to make it a little bit easier. So current hospital, I'm renaming it to previous current hospital, and then total cases, I'm renaming it to previous total cases, and so on. All right, so this is how this looks. Okay, so this part takes care of getting data from yesterday. Now, I know I mentioned this in other videos, but I didn't mention this at the beginning. So Parabola is a low-code platform. Not a low-code, actually a no-code platform, because you're not writing any code, that allows you to build your application logic in this visual way. And I like it because every step in the flow is a very small function. So you almost can think of it as a kind of a serverless environment where you build the application visually. So as you can see, I import here, I sort, I add a row number, then I drop some rows, and then I rename columns. So every step does something very, very specific and very small. Okay, so that's a little bit about Parabola. All right, so we got the information. Now this step, this is where I am invoking the Scraper API. Now let me show you how it looks. And I have it here. So I'm using a no-code tool called Simple Scraper. And this is just the home page, but let me show you. And once you basically have to use a plugin, Chrome plugin, and then you show which data you want to scrape from the website. And then it allows you to create an API for it, and it will just run automatically. So let me show you how this looks. So there's a plugin right here, and I'm going to say scrape this website. Oh, let me see if I can just reload this. All right, let's try this again. So for some reason it's still not. Oh, here we go, it loaded. So what you do is you create a property, and I'm going to keep this for now. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to show you how it works. And then basically what happens next is you can see that you can now select which parts of the page you want to scrape. So you can select multiple properties, right? So again, I already have an existing project, which again, I also have an API, but this is how you do it. So you can get this number, then you create another property for this number, and so on. Now, let me close this. One thing I did, and let me go here and show you. Again, so this is the scrape project that I have, and you can see it has an API, automatically creates an API. Let me go to edit quickly. And so some websites, you might have to, you can do it visually as I showed, but sometimes if the HTML behind this page is sort of complicated or doesn't have a well-defined structure, you might have to kind of look at the page source and set the CSS selectors directly. So I had to do this here, I don't know, maybe because it's a county website. And so what I did, I just had to kind of manually do this. So that's really the only code that I had to really write. And again, it's not really a code, it's just setting IDs. So again, if the page is complicated or more complex where the scraper is not able to do it automatically, you can kind of go and set the CSS selectors directly. But I think for most pages, you should be okay doing it visually without having to do this. But all right, so this is the they call it the recipe. So this is a recipe, and again, there is an API. And if I go back to Parabola, you can see the API is right here. And let me actually go back just to show you quickly results. So you can see this is the results, and this is from today. And we can see a JSON preview as well. Right, so this is the response from the API. Let's go back here. So I'm invoking this, the endpoint, and this is the data that I get. So again, total cases, total death, total tested, and current in hospital. All right, so here what I do is actually I have to join the results. And let me show you. So basically, I'm joining the results, and the way I'm doing it is based on the URL. So the URL right here is the same, right, for the data that I'm getting from the previous day and also the current data that I'm getting from the Scraper API. So I'm sort of merging, and now you can see, so I have, for example, total cases here, and then I have also total cases previous, right? So that's from the previous day. So next, I am adding an email. Okay, so that's where to send the email. This is just add a column step. And that's it. Well, so the next step is I'm actually sending the email. So I'm using a built-in step in Parabola to send the email, and you can see there's the title, and then I just format, and you can see it says yesterday, and I get the information from yesterday, and then I get the information from today. And of course, what I need to do next, I send the email. I also need to save today's information. So what I do is and this is step probably not, this is step optional, but instead of having all the columns, I'm actually only keeping the current information. So just keep current hospital, total cases. So just the data, just less columns here. The next step is add a time. Right? So if I scroll all the way to the, I added this time stamp. And then finally, this is also a built-in step in Parabola. So you can see this is import, but this is export. And I'm just exporting the data. And one thing is that I'm appending to the sheet, right? So I'm not overriding. And if I look here, right, oops, this is the one from today. And oh, actually, so what I did is I actually tested this flow one more time. So these two are from today. So you can see that it runs at 12 o'clock Pacific time. So in fact, this is a test. So I can just delete this entry because it's the same. All right. And this is how the email looks. So you can see it arrives at 12 p.m. and the information from yesterday, information from today, and this information is saved in Google Sheets. Now, as for Parabola, right, so this is the entire flow. Now, if I go back and go here, you can see that it runs every day at 12 p.m. So I get this email daily at 12 p.m. And again, I know sort of what's happening with the cases in Contra Costa County. So hopefully the trend of cases going down will continue. That's it. That's it for this video. Again, what I showed you is that how you can scrape a website and then email that information. Well, just email this information to really anyone. I'm also saving information to keep a record of what I've scraped. And of course, I'm scraping for COVID data, but you can scrape really any data out there, and then email it to yourself, or you can also do SMS. And here I can save it to Google Sheets, and there's some other export options in Parabola as well. So again, very powerful, very flexible. And again, what I really love is that you don't have to write any code, right? So I mentioned that I had to use CSS selectors, but it's not even code, right? It's just setting some IDs. So hopefully this this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.